ladies and gentlemen. Beep boop, beep boop, beep, beep boop, bop bop, beep boop, beep. Hey, it's me. I feel like I'm missing some sort of sensory item here. Welcome to Dad's Workshop, the one of you. Appreciate you. Doofy. No, I don't use that word. And go ahead, Heather. We just keep it positive up in here, man. There's a million other places to be. I don't need people up in here, Doofy. See how I roll? I don't care. I'd rather have people who are positive than that kind of negative stuff. I'm not going to say that. This is a little bit big for the layout face here. Welcome to Dad's Workshop, where I do have somebody managing the chat. That doesn't seem right, man. It's supposed to be 2 inches off that face. I don't know if that's big enough. It's like 2 10/16. I want to compare this to one of my other ones. Right now I'm building a little mini timber frame building, blocks that I can give my niece and my son, my youngest son, to play with when we go on at Easter time. So I'm cutting little joints in each one of the blocks so that they can figure out, by putting it back together where things go. It makes you smarter to have to figure out geometric shapes like that in 3D. And they're already pretty smart, so just kind of nurturing that childhood intelligence. But that's what I'm doing, and that's why you see these little braces cut. I gotta get these. Well, this brace was one that was in. Appreciate your compliment. Sometimes people throw a few backhanded compliments in here, but I am proud of the work that I do here at Dad's Workshop. So appreciate you, Doofy. But yeah, little tiny timber frame model, one piece at a time. We just started it. So good question. Thanks for being here. I'm sure some of my regulars will show up here in a couple minutes and we'll get the chat kicked off. Some people talking about random stuff. That's what we doing here. Heather, if you're in there, can you run a square root for me? Give me the square root of 2 and 7/16. Square root of 2 and 7/16. So 2 and whatever the decimal form of 7/16 is, and then that reconverted back into a fraction. Right? Am I looking for square root? Yeah. Actually, square that number. Square that number, right? I'm trying to find out where I cut these joint pockets. This one doesn't look like the same size as my other ones. Look, there's a difference in size here. I don't know how I ended up cutting these out that large. I started with 2 and 13/16 as my measurement. This one looks only a fraction bigger, but it's a lot. It looks a lot bigger to me here. I could probably figure it out just by looking at the difference between these center points here. Yeah, so here we have 2 inches. Here we have 2 and what looks like 9/16 now. 2 and 9/16. So if this is 2 inches, 2 inches on pocket to pocket, beginning of pocket to pocket, then this one should be 2 and 7/16, beginning of pocket to pocket, I suppose, right? We're gonna try that. I'm gonna see what that looks like when I put that mark on here. I said 2 and 9/16. 2 and 9/16 in the pocket. Yeah. Let me do this. I think that's it right there. Yeah, that's gonna be it. 2 and 9/16. That's what I just made it 9/16 bigger for some reason. So it's going to be that same measurement there. So 2 and 9/16, and then unfortunately the layout face is larger on this, so that's going to be even trickier. But we're going to have a 1. It's not even an inch. I don't know what I was doing when I cut. That's 3/4 of an inch. So the pocket is going to be 3/4 of an inch long from end to end. Let me move this a little bit. You can see a lot of blocks fall down today, I bet. One of those kind of days. God only knows if I remember how to put this back together. All right. So I was working on how to get these joints, to converge on the corners. It's a bit tricky. 2 and I need to make sure that it's from the center, from the angle here. 2 and 9/16. Sorry, I hit the microphone sometimes when I'm doing this. I'm getting better at that. I think it's just important that I know where I'm going to make a couple little marks here. The center point of this, I believe this is 1 3/4 inches. But let me check. I made this the wrong side, so another mistake I made, 1 1/4 inches. But if I do it in metric, I think I found that it's like almost exactly. So it's looks like 3.5 centimeters. So what I did was go to 1.75 centimeters and then go out from that 1/4 inch on each side. This is harder than making the bed. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. It is hard. So right here, I want this point. That's what I gotta do right there. I know how I can do it. All right, so I'm gonna extend this line up here, transcribe it onto the top, and then I'm just gonna mark on my layout face. See, I'm like actually working through problems here. I don't have any plans or anything. Well, I did do one of these a long time ago. Very long time ago, and it was very hard then even too. It's a challenge for my brain. It's gotta be 2 9/16, but this is gonna be the position of the pocket as far as on the layout face. So I need to take that and move that mark back. I want this as accurate as possible here. There we go. That's going to be where it is there. I think I made it 3/4 inch long. Should be right here. According to this super cheap speed triangle here. Speed square. Does that match what I got? That looks a little wide. I mean, the positioning looks good, but it looks a little wide. We'll cut it in from that cut line. There we go. See, that's going to be where my brace pocket's going to go there. I'm going to go back with the same thing here, same technique. 2 9/16 up the other direction. 3/4 inch wide. So see, that doesn't match right there. I got two different widths. All right, now what I got to do is the same thing. I do that on the other end. So I'm going to continue these marks here to the end of this brace. Like that. And then once I got that, I want to make a mark on top to represent that. Put that on the layout face. I love that one. I never know if somebody's coming through the door, if the wind is blowing the door over. Imagine having that mystery all the time. Kind of fun. Kind of fun, not gonna lie. All right, so this is what I did last time. I found this point on the layout face. And then I found this point on the layout face here. I'm just gonna bring that line back by using my ruler to get that right angle. That also looks a hair big, but we're gonna needs to be 3/4 of an inch long. Also, hey, welcome to Dad's Workshop, everybody. Good to see you. Glad to see so many people here right now. Shout out to all my regulars, in case you're there. Chardonnay, friend of the program, Ruiz, Daniel Gandara. Shout out to all those people who make this show possible. So if they're not here, that's fine. They will be. They always are. Or we have to call and do a welfare check. No, like, you know, we got to check on our people. But welcome so heartily to Dad's Works. Oh, there she is. Yeah, a little caliper wouldn't hurt. Here's the other thing. I need a bench vise bad, Chard. I'm not asking you for it, Chardonnay. Of course, you know, I would take it. But I'm not asking you for it. But what I need is a bench vise so I can place these work pieces vertically and work in the work piece. That's like one of the next things I think I'm going to get. Welcome, Chardonnay. Best friend of the program. No welfare check. Good. I'm glad I don't have to do a welfare check like back in the day when I was your classroom teacher. I would have had to do something like that. You know, nowadays, this is all freedom here. Everybody's free to come and go as they want to some extent, to a certain extent. Oh, see that? Miss Heather's gonna see that. Yeah, we're gonna figure out something here. Love all my Dad's Workshop folks. Appreciate y'all. That just boosted my mood to see you, Chardonnay, and not just because you're gonna give me a bench vise, but because that's why I shouted you out before I even knew you were there. Because I knew you were there. All right, so I made a mistake, Chardonnay, on cutting this little block here. This needed to be the same as this. So this one, I was really frustrated today. I cut this brace out completely the wrong size. This one is 2 13/16 from point to point here. And this one here is 2 9/16 from point to point. That really is where the layout face needs to get the joint rolled in. The joint rolled in. See where my mind is. The joint cut in. That's just a little gallows humor. All right, good. But now that I've said that, I threw myself completely. I probably just got 15 new viewers for that. All right, so the joint has to be cut in exactly at 2 9/16, and that's where we put it here. 2 9/16 in both directions. It looks like it's going to fit. So I'm going to take this apart now. What I did was come up with a new joint system where you have one tenon running under another here, because you have to have a top plate and a bottom plate to have a real construction. To have rigidity in a building, you need a top and a bottom plate. So we did that there. Now what I'm going to do is take these off here, and I'm going to cut these 2 brace pockets, and hopefully it turns out well. Then I have to fabricate this brace a little and take these little things off. We'll put this in here and kind of use it like a bench vise, and I'll saw into it with the razor saw. Matter of fact, I might actually do that now, since that's one of the more popular activities for YouTube. I can find a way to clamp this. I might be able to clamp it to the end here with a longer clamp. Yep, dad jokes. Dad jokes are always in play here. Always in play. Heather knows I am not too good for a dad joke. This is kind of a precarious way to clamp in something here, but I'm going to try the saw with this. I don't have a lot of room too, and I got to use the rip saw side of this because I'm going with the grain here, right? So I'm gonna find that line, use my fingers to line it up here. I'm pretty much through there. I don't want to cut too much. It's the second cut here. A little bit off my line a bit there. Kind of surprised I lost viewers when I started sawing stuff. That doesn't usually happen like that. I'm so confused. I'm gonna use a heavier mallet here. Remember, you know, more force is applied when a small point receives a constant, but you see this clamping situation makes it really tricky to use a chisel. I'm gonna have to get a lot of force on that because it's you can see why a bench vise would come in real handy here. I'm gonna move it forward in this little clamp hole that I built on the bench. See if I can figure out a way to do it that way. You know, we're about problem solving here and working with what we got. That's what Dad's workshop is all about, actually. This is not a way you want to chisel this. You probably want to chisel down this direction. I can't see that line though, so I don't want to. I don't love this. Maybe if I put one more clamp on it, but then I won't have any room. I might actually saw through the side, guys. I think I can do that here. Just right here. Tricky. I don't want to make a new angle here, you know? That worked. I don't think I created a new angle there. That's really important because you don't want to cut a new angle out of your brace. You got your 45-degree angle, and that's what you want. Well, Chardonnay, I started with just a few pieces, and then I was like, today I went crazy on the bandsaw. Let me show you what I did. This is going to be even harder to cut. I cut I cut this today too. So all these long pieces, it's going to be like, there's going to be like 40, 50, 60 pieces in it. You know, it's going to be a lot. Even yesterday, I got rid of a bunch of those. And this piece that my phone is sitting on, this is another one too. So I cut a bunch of long sections out, and if I have to cut them down, you can see they're almost like a gigantic beam that went through a sawmill because they went through the bandsaw. Kind of like the way they look. And so now, no, that's a good question. I don't know yet. I'm kind of working as I go. It's going to be a lot of pieces. Yeah. Let's see if I can turn this around and get access to this side here. That is such a hard angle to saw at, though. And then you guys can't really see from that angle. Some of the ways I've had to saw in history here. Like, because I got to saw this like this, basically. Almost there. Yep, there it goes. All right, now we're down to that. I love that sound. other side. Hopefully I didn't take out too much of that. See, it looks like I kind of altered the angle, and I don't love that. Maybe when I took out that side there, I took out a chunk of it. I'm not too happy about that. You see how it fits in this brace pocket. Oh, it fits better than that one, so that's good. I got to do the same thing on the other side, it looks like, without causing that calamity that just, see if I can do it like this. It's all about experimentation. Tuning fork ASMR, that's right, yep. Yeah, got to make the noises and stuff. That's, if you ever watch my shorts, that's what it's all about, the noises. Should be this side. More length to do that. Let's see. Trying to get just enough length that clamped in here that I can just cut through the side here. Only had smell-o-vision. That smell. This particular piece of wood has like the greatest smell. Each piece of wood has its own personality. There we go. A little more damage to the tenon than I would want there. See if I can do this backhanded sawing here. This is tricky. Yes, that may be a little too much for me. Got to get my hand a little bit close to the business end of this thing too. And I've already cut a finger almost all the way off with one of these before. Let's see if I can turn it sideways. Let's do that this way. That's probably just common sense, right? The clamp's got to be on the other side. There we go. To revise your angle, you have to tilt the saw with these Ryoba type saws. There we go. We have a brace. And if you watch my bunk bed thing, you've seen braces much bigger than this because we made, you know, bunk bed size braces. This needs a little, I got to cut this edge out here or it won't fit properly. Oh no, Chardonnay, are you the one that put that oak video up? I told my folks about that oak video, man. That was so weird. But it was a good way for him to make a video about his wood turning, you know? It was a very creative way of real close to the business end of this thing, man. Yeah, so a comment on that video, Chardonnay. The video was a brilliant roundabout way of basically clickbaiting his wood turning video, because he's a wood turner. So what did he do? He turned a bowl and he made oak flavored ice cream. Probably really sincerely, authentically did it, but it probably tasted terrible, but it was an awesome way to show his bowl, you know? So yeah, join the Discord. You can see all these awesome little videos that we come up with. You know, you can always search on YouTube and find these videos yourself, but we talk about them here on Dad's Workshop because that's what we do. Talk about crafty stuff, like Mr. Chickadee, stuff like that. We were talking about him the other day. Shout out Mr. Chickadee. Brace pocket's going to be a little bit short, so they're going to have to be cut a little bit longer, it looks like. And I have another piece over here somewhere where I have another brace pocket drawn in. I don't know where that is. It's around here somewhere. Here's the one side. Oh, here it is. Right here. I'm gonna have to figure out where all my pieces are because they're all scattered around now. Yeah, we need to, you know, we've made a lot of ice cream here and we've made things out of wood, but we've never made wood ice cream. I will admit that freely here. Never made it. We love ice cream and we like things made out of wood. So I suppose we should try that. Though I love the smell. I don't know if I want to eat it, you know. I just want to smell it. Yeah, this is slightly short, and those are wide, but why am I looking at a brace pocket here that doesn't look like it's drawn on the proper side? I swear I did this correctly. Because, well, let's gather these pieces real quick. Yeah, one side here. And right now, without a clamp, it is hard to hold this thing together. Most of the pieces are here for this. Need the female. This would be that. So, okay. What gets me is these three-dimensional joints. This is why it's a good puzzle for kids, because it gets me too. I think that one goes down. All right, this is hold on one second. Well, don't hold on one second. Stand by. There we go. Stand by for a moment. Let me figure this out. There we go. And then this one's gonna go here, like that, right? Where is that? That's a brace pocket too. But that's for a brace that's already made, and that is right here. So I need to find that long piece. Okay. huh. And then a brace here. Oh, this isn't the right brace. This is the right brace, right? Sort of the right brace. Size not exactly right, but the right brace for that piece. And then we have this, so all the way up like that, but it's this direction. And this piece right here. Let's see if I can get this clean here for a second. Okay, well that doesn't make sense, does it? But that is where I wanted to cut that pocket, so that is correct then. Welcome to Thinking Out Loud. Oh, I'd love to watch that movie. Probably my kids will get me to watch it with them. You know, I know they're Minecraft guys, so you know, I couldn't craft a mine if you paid me. Actually, my son has tried to get me to like do it. I was just like not understanding a lot of things. I do play games, but I've never played Minecraft. That one came out when I was like in my 30s, so you know, I was like in a no video games at all phase. I had sworn video games off like in my late 20s because I felt like they were an incredible waste of time. And then I realized, you know, they're there for a reason. Yeah, these brace pockets are going to have to be a little slimmer and a little longer. But I'm going to try to just do that by eye. Not a good idea. Don't recommend it. But yeah, love Chardonnay said, any plan to watch the Minecraft movie? Of course, I will give that movie a chance. I'm sure they probably, like the Mario movie, made it very entertaining. You know, such things like that. Got to make these things entertaining. All right, let me find it. We'll go with that. Tiny meows. Meows from the little kittens. Little kittens in a box. It's an old-fashioned way to get it cleared out. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Tight fit. Look at that, man. Oh, it's so satisfying when you do that. Hard to describe to people. Joining wood to another wood and how that can put joy in a person's soul. Not a man, not a woman, but any person who likes to do woodwork. I saw public television show the other day. Don't watch a lot of antenna TV, but caught a public television show where the lady was showing these folks how to do some woodwork, which is nice. We have varying degrees of skills, you know, as you all know. Sorry, I'm muttering. I need to put the microphone back on. That's why I lost my audience. Probably that and the power tool. Sorry, minimal power tool usage. This makes it easy to get that mortise cleaned out. Putting the microphone back on my person. There we go. Oh, good. Chardonnay said audio is good. That's good. That's a green light for me to just keep it moving. Here's one lesson of woodwork that YouTube will not teach you. Most woodworking projects are meant to be done over many, many, many days. Sometimes weeks, sometimes months. You know, it's not like houses they build now. They build a house in a week because they're built like crap. So woodwork is really a slow process, like stonemasonry. And trying to get stuff done in one night is like the death of a woodworking project. You cannot try to force a project to be done quickly. The bed took us like 3 months. We're not even completely done with that. I'm going to make sure that that gets on the channel. But right now I'm kind of been waiting for some mattresses. Got to get some mattresses. And then I want to put some pins in there, but I want to put them in the inside. Yeah, I could see that. Also, a lot of the timber frame houses that are made are cut with a CNC router, man. They're like made in a gigantic machine. It's kind of sad. I love timber frame, but it makes the like there's no art in it anymore because they canceled out the person and made it a robot. But this joint is on wrong. This needs to be like this. That's why that didn't fit right. Yeah. All right, so let's try this out real quick. That's just really rough cut. Yeah, my folks live in that area. They definitely don't have a 3D printed house, but they live in the Ashland area, Hanover County, up there. Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. I said that Mr. Beat, was it Mr. Beat? No. Unspeakable. Unspeakable had an episode where he was like, they ordered a house on Amazon. Pretty funny stuff. Kind of destroyed it, which made me a little sad. I was like, dude, why'd you make this? You buy this kind of sweet looking house. I did something wrong here. It's not right. Is that it? Tell me I cut this on the... I thought we determined this was the right side. Alright, so what is wrong here? See, that might be... Cut line might be a little young there. Oh, okay. Well, better to start with it a little small and then have to make it bigger than to start with it, you know, like the joint, the mortises. If you start with your piece too small, then you're screwed. But starting with your mortises a little too small, it's okay. I'll just widen this one out here a little bit. Yeah, so Chardonnay, those shipping containers, they range like from 4,000 to various other prices, I could definitely whip a shipping container into a house in just a couple days, I think. With just the woodworking skills I have, I'd use basic framing. We'd put a tilted roof on it probably. You don't want to try to rely on the top of that shipping container. Also, many of them have bends and stuff and are warped out of shape. You got to make sure you get a good one too. I was telling Heather about that. There's a whole like HGTV container homes thing, which I thought was awesome. You know, I love it when people use stuff to make houses, unique stuff. You could almost timber frame or do cool woodwork around that metal concept and get this balance of wood and metal, in my opinion. That would be very stylish. So maybe take a wire brush and get off all the paint off the container, vacuum that out, clean it all, and then like shellac that stainless steel, brush stainless steel, and then put in woodwork and the inside, you know, wood framing to make it look good. I would love a container house if done correctly, for sure. Heather knows I feel like I could make a container house sweet in just a couple days with a concrete slab laid down. Well, you buy yourself a container, and we'll relocate Dad's workshop to wherever it is for building you a container house and go viral, right? Just go ahead and just go viral. Skip all the hard work. Something just doesn't seem right about this. I don't want to make that more to small. I mean, I don't want to make the tenon smaller. That's sacrilege here. I make this off the wrong starting point here. 2 9/16. This is so tricky. I think maybe let me try something here. I must have measured it from the other side or something and be making a mistake on that because I got that submarine song in my head. You know the one. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, just need all you need is a piece of land and you know, also some electrician skills are good to have for this, like knowing how to wire up a house. This is like where you read a little bit on that. And plumbing. My timber framing book has a lot about basic like plumbing, so that you as a timber framer can know what you need to cut in to, so that the plumbing people can do what they have to do. And I'm not an expert. I'm actually just an amateur person in it. I've talked to master timber framers who make it seem much easier actually than what all the diagrams and books make it seem like, and what my experience makes it seem like, which is quite difficult. Ooh, I just lost some people. Yeah, side-by-side shipping containers, as long as they're both plumb. What did I see recently, though? The containers just really needed to be like overhauled because there were holes or they were bent on one side. Checking your containers, making sure your shipping containers are plumb, like in level, so you don't have any problems with plumbing, and hence the word plumbing. Things like that. This was supposed to be like this, so this is going to be like that. everything seems pretty close here. The shoulder is on the right spot. I think maybe I'll just put that line back too far. Really? Yeah, definitely, Chardonnay. I believe it. You know, definitely believe in the power of books. YouTube can sometimes be a quick way to learn things, but like looking at diagrams and understanding stuff like that, I feel like is a skill to have. But definitely, if your dad's a welder, metal worker, that's really helpful. I watched this years ago, this special about a guy who was a metal worker, a welder, and he bought a milk truck and he converted it into an amphibious car, and drove it through the Panama Canal, man. It actually sat down in the water a lot. It was almost like a semi-submersible because it sat so low in the water. He had ballast added to it to sink it down in the water. I guess it was the safest way to go. But it was this gigantic, ugly, metal thing. But I thought it was awesome, man. He built this thing with his own two hands and took it around the world. Basically could drive it from continent to continent. What an awesome dream to fulfill. Just with metalworking skills. I think that's pretty good there. Look, boom. We got that. So these little corner pieces are tough to get. I recognize that today. Oh yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, definitely put some of that stuff on the Discord. We got people interested in metalwork on there too. Some of the same people that watch my channel watch metalworking channels. Like people that occasionally check out my live are also people who often check out this they check out metalworking lives too. Knife people, knife. What do you call that? Forging. Not foraging, but forging. Now, here's a problem that I didn't come in contact with before. The tenons on this are too big to go through, which is weird because it should be sized perfectly for that. Tenon should pass under and over the other one. Basically like that. And the post goes over both. There's something wrong here though. I mixed two different posts. So when I did this post, I picked a random one. I should have picked a special one here. I'm gonna have to adjust this piece right here. Obviously we have another brace here that's not in the right place either. So something is out of place and I gotta figure out where it is. It's not there. Do I feel it here? Where is that piece with the... Should be a piece that has a brace pocket cut into it right here. There it is. Yeah, that needs to be adjusted as well. That doesn't even fit that side there. So brace pocket here, adjusted, or the brace adjusted to fit that. Then we have this, what do you call it, tie beam here that has to be refit. These tenons have to be cut again to be fit to the piece properly. Then this brace has to be cut. I want this brace to go in this side right here. So they're almost going to meet in the middle. And then we have upper tie beams, or lower, because this thing is upside down right now. Lower tie beam right there, lower tie beam right there, and those connected. And then when you have the ability to, then you add the roofing, which would be basically rafters made with this same type of design here, with a cut on the corners here, and I don't know if you can see, so that they sit against the tie beams. They sit on top of the tie beams firmly. But this is just, I'm just using a piece to kind of illustrate that. Yeah, you should definitely post a pic in the Discord. Chardonnay, welcome to everybody to Dad's Workshop. We are actually about to wrap it up here, but make sure you click that subscribe button and join the family here, where we are really like a family. We're close here. We hang out, we talk. So I'm really happy that you all came today. Right now we're working on this mini timber frame project, blocks for my niece and my son to play with on Easter weekend. I'll stick around for a couple minutes because it seems like people are popping in. Make sure you say hi, drop something in the chat. Friend of the show, Chardonnay, shout out. Big contribution today. Looks like other friends of the show are conspicuously absent. I would call it an unexcused absence, if you will. Some may say an unexcused absence. Maybe I won't, but some would. See, I stopped being a teacher, so I don't do unexcused absences anymore. It's just either you're here or you're not, Are you present? Yes, they need a welfare check. They need like an Amber Alert for adults. Like, I got an Amber Alert that killed my phone today. I left my phone in the garage. One of my phones, I left it in the garage, came out. The Amber Alert had killed half the battery. Half the battery on my phone was gone, as Donald Trump would say. Half the battery. Just, you got to repeat stuff over and over again, especially. All right, so yeah, half the battery was gone. Amber Alert. So hopefully they found little girl. But yeah, welfare checks, unexcused absences, unexcused tardies are inexcusable. Your unexcused absences are inexcusable. Your inexcused tardies are inexcusable. So stop showing up late. You show up on time. Daniel, Ruiz, some of my old folks I haven't seen in a long time, like Vitali and those folks. Shout out Vitali, wherever you are in the world, doing woodwork or whatever it is over there in Ireland. Shout out to the other people, Robert G. Haint, haven't seen Haint in a minute. Hope to see Haint soon. Shout out to all my regular people, but especially shout out to the Chardonnay for being here on time. 10 brownie points. I'll take some pictures. I'm working on a short for this this block set here. And I will also take pictures and post those on the Discord. And we'll get that Amazon wish list up because, we like stuff too. We're not going to turn down stuff here. But remember, these blocks are all cut from conventional lumber. I put my saw to what is 1/16 over an inch and a quarter. One, two, three, four, 5/16. 5/16. Sorry. So I set my bandsaw wall to 1 5/16, and I take a 2x4 and run it through, and then I run it through again, just like that. And so the 2x4s, and I have some from a kind of special lumber place. So I've got spruce and Douglas fir 2x4s. That's why you see there's some different color in there. But they're just 2x4s of conventional lumber. Put your bandsaw wall to 1 5/16, and then just run the 2x4 through it. Make sure you got it straight. Put your speed triangle up against it. Make sure that it is running at it like that's at a 90-degree angle with your wall. That's how you make sure that you're cutting a straight piece. This is the value of it right here. I'm giving you value right now. Take your Bandsaw wall, which you can see behind me, it's not set to an inch and 5/16 right now. Set your bandsaw wall to an inch and 5/16, and you can cut pieces out exactly like this. They're somewhat square. They're not exactly square. And these are an inch and 5/16, right? Pretty much all around. And I like that size. I feel like it's a nice massive size for these type of small builds here. Also a good way to build cutting boards. And then with each 2x4, you actually end up with a piece like this at the end, which is actually a really nice size piece for a number of things. So each piece will have, and if you clean it off, you end up with these little things. Almost like shims. See these? Like this one's a little too thin. These are what came off the ends of the 2x4s, right? And we can use these for roofing. So when we're done, we'll make these roof. We'll make them roof. If I'm from Minnesota, they say roof. They don't say roof. Roughing. Yep. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming to Dad's workshop today. One more shout out to Chardonnay for being here and helping us out and being an awesome friend of the show. Shout out to everybody else who helps out. Make sure that you click that like button, click that subscribe button, come back and see us. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Hug somebody you love. Appreciate every moment that you have as a new and fresh moment. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.